iQue.
Great. Good morning. Everybody can hear me? Our friends back there told me to use my outdoor voice, so we're going to do the best we can and communicate. And we're looking forward to this topic of core systems. And then they used the word rapid deployment. Boy, I'm looking at Sam and I'm looking at Mark back there. I want somebody to define rapid, but we're going to try to explain that, right? And so today we have a really cool group that our panel that's going to explain to you pretty much a journey that this organization called Wilmington Holdings Group went through. Now, let me give you a little background about Wilmington Holding Group, that Terri is senior manager on one part of the group and then the president of an insurance company. Over the last 4 years, they've bought 5 insurance companies. So I think I just got the attention of some of the system integrators in here. Think about the problem and the issue of 5 different carriers acquiring in a short period of time with the goal to normalize, centralize, and get all of that data, policy data, premium audit data, Fred. I told you I'd give you a hit. As well as all of the execution and making sure that all the users, both the insureds, the agents, MGA marketplace that they service, and also their holding group to consolidate all their financials. So that's the topic and the journey we're going to try to explain today. I love the first day. If everybody was here on the first day, Dan made a great statement. He said, speed is important, but data, quality of data, dependency on data, confidence in data is crucial and critical for growing successful organizations to make it. So that is what we're going to be talking about, how an organization had the opportunity for core systems where they have the option of either building, buying, or leasing. And Terri's going to walk you through her decision and how the ramifications throughout their whole organization, okay? And so I think that's critical. Rapid deployment is a unique statement, and we'll unpack that for you this afternoon and everything else like that. Just as introduction, my name is Kris George, Managing Director of MIS. We're a back office, and we define that as not only the BPO side, people, but also the BTO side, which is the technology, the platform, the ability to rate, quote, bind, bill, and audit, and report. And so you could see why a partnership with MIS and Wilmington Holdings Group, iQue Insurance Company, Wilmington Insurance Company, and add on top to that, they have a relationship with a front carrier in a footprint that they aren't licensed in right now. So it's a great case study to walk through, and we'll try to explain that as we go. So Terri, please introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Zenobia.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here at this lovely property. And think about it, we're in a room with no windows in this beautiful part of the state. So thank you for joining. My name is Terri Stevens. I'm currently the president of iQue Insurance Company, which is based in Sarasota, Florida, so I'm a little bit right down the road. And I've been in the insurance industry for almost, actually 35 years this particular spring. And what's been really unique about my background, and I'm very blessed for this experience, is I have actually served in many, many different roles over my cumulative career. I've been a retail agent. I started and founded an MGA and a TPA that grew to one of the largest TPAs and MGAs in the state of Florida. We took it from 0 to $150 million in premium in over a 10-year period. I've worked for insurance carriers, both rated and non-rated. I've worked for stable insurance companies that have had a great footprint, and I've worked for insurance companies that were under supervision, that I had to pull out of supervision and rebuild and reorganize. And I actually started my career 35 years ago in a customer service role. Didn't know not one thing about insurance. Didn't even know what workers' compensation was. I took the job because I thought it sounded interesting, and the rest is history. But that role as a customer service manager for 5 years really was transformational and built the foundation of my career, because it taught me a little bit about every single discipline that an insurance company faces, and my job was to fix problems. So that sort of finding solutions and fixing issues has really been the hallmark and the foundation of my career. I work with Kris George since the 1980s. So
When we were 10.
When we were 10. We actually, again, as my career has kind of seen the full spectrum, my relationship with Kris George and the MIS group has also been the full spectrum. So we started off as coworkers when I was in my customer service role. And then when I worked at the MGA TPA, Kris George and his company, they were a customer of mine. And now I'm a customer of his. Not once, not twice. With this last acquisition that we've had, it's going to be my third and fourth conversion with MIS ReSource Pro, in addition to 2 other projects we're working on with a few other companies that we've recently acquired. So repeat business in this space is unheard of. And I just want to thank him and congratulate him and his team for just always being a support of ours for now 3 decades.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zenobia Hastie. I've been in the insurance industry for 22 years now. Started out with humble beginnings at NCCI, and from there expanded onto carriers and doing BPO work. My primary role with MIS is to oversee the service operations as well as expedite system implementations. And I must say it's an honor to be up here with 2 of my unspoken mentors and share the stage with them. So this is year 13 with MIS, and we're looking forward to all of the things that are in store.
All right. Well, let's get into the journey that Terri and her management team had to do. Terri, kind of explain to everybody your decision and your group's decision as you decided on core systems to either build, buy, or lease.
So again, my background, I had experience with just about every part of that decision-making process. I've worked with companies where we've built our own proprietary system. I've worked with companies that we've leased the back office, and I've worked with companies where we actually went on the vetting journey of finding the right solution. And I want to just pause there for a minute because every operation that I've worked with the exception of 2, we were either startups or rehabs. So we had to have a very entrepreneurial perspective when we were going through the process of making our ultimate decision. So let me first start with build.
Yes.
So when I worked for the TPA and MGA a number of years ago, we decided that we were going to build our own back office operation, not only on the claims side, but on the underwriting side. And although it sounded like a really great, sexy idea at the time to have our own, it is very expensive. And then typically what was problematic with that particular decision was when we hired IT staff and architects and engineers to help us build that proprietary system, which we thought would be ultimately a great selling point for us. The issue there was we, as a neophyte organization, had to pivot from building and growing our company to now teaching and training IT people on how does the insurance operation work. And we all know how challenging it is because it's just not policy administration and underwriting. You've got to teach them about how to build a claims system, how it is to integrate with underwriting, with loss control, with accounting. So it's just more than just a singular discipline. So building it was fraught with issues because you're spending a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of resources on non-revenue creating opportunities when you're building a company, because now you are shifting toward changing the dynamics from being an insurance company or an MGA to now being an IT company. So needless to say, one of the companies I work for, one of the reasons why we ultimately had to shut our doors was because the build decision, quite frankly, was a failure. Now let's pivot over to buying. So now you've got the buying decision that you need to make. And there are a lot of companies out there that are selling back office platforms, not only in the underwriting space, in the accounting space, in the claims space. The issue there is price point. As a startup and small organization, sometimes that 7-figure price tag for entry is not within your financial capabilities. So then you've got to narrow it down to who can you afford, and can they give you the engine that you need to make your business successful? And again, it has been my experience that when we went down that route, we were buying a software package, and yes, maybe we owned the code, but we did not have the people within that software purchase that, again, fully understood the unique needs of what our carrier needed. And that's why a company like MIS Resource Pro was a solution for us. Because they not only had the systems in place, but they had the people and the expertise in every single discipline and acumen that we needed support in, that helped us build that platform in a lease environment that helped us to focus and grow in our organization.
Good.
And I'll give you an example. I'm actually struggling with something right now. We're going through a conversion with MIS, again, not only for one, but for 2 of our insurance subsidiaries. And in one of our insurance subsidiaries, we're finding ourselves with a deficit in the accounting discipline. And, just an hour ago, I'm working with Kris and Zenobia, and how can we solve that problem? What kind of support can your team give us to help us fill in that little void as we go through, this issue that I'm dealing with? And they're there for us. We're already mobilizing some people from his team to come down to my shop next week so we can figure out how do we bridge that gap in accounting so we don't miss a beat as we're going through the second quarter financials and what we need to do for the implementation and integration of our conversion. So that's the type of support you do not get when you buy a software package or you build your own. And that's what I think that the value added that MIS Resource Pro has to offer an organization such as ours.
Nice. I think the next question leads into, from your vantage point, how did you convince management? You say we had this history, we knew of each other, you knew of our execution, but how do you sell that to within the organization? What are some of the points that you used on the lease side?
Again, it's experience. And, I've had experience, again, in building, leasing, and buying. So fortunately, the leadership at the holding company's level, through careful consideration, took my recommendations to actually get rid of all of our former legacy platforms and work with MIS Resource Pro. So we have one system for all of our insurance subsidiaries, although we operate with different lines of coverage. One of our insurance companies is all commercial property. Commercial auto, commercial property, general liability, umbrella, inland marine, and BOPs. And then the other carriers, all comp. Same system, different lines of coverage, and that allows us to be sustainable and scalable on a nationwide basis. So being with a small organization, we all are going to be operating on a comparable product. So if we want to convert the commercial property carrier to comp, it's a no-brainer. We just flip it. If we want to start adding other lines to the comp carrier, again, not a problem. We're able to integrate all of the systems onto a singular platform so we can build it on a national program. And not only are we doing that with the underwriting, back office, policy admin, financial data calls components that we have with MIS Resource Pro, we're also doing that with some of our other contracts and vendor partners that we're using, notably our TPA. So again, one TPA, all carriers. We've got one account executive that understands the dynamics of our organization, and we're able to integrate that again enterprise-wide. And the beauty of it is we're able to negotiate those contracts at the holding company's level. So we have economies of scale. If we add companies, our new companies are going to be the beneficiary of those existing contracts and those relationships, so we can just bolt on as we grow and as we build our empire.
Yeah.
Great, yeah, and I think you hit kind of the trinity of rapid deployment, technology, change management, and the people behind it, and understanding that it's not one versus the other, that it's a collective across the board, and having that product expertise and having a solid platform in order to deliver, along with the understanding and the cleanliness of data, definitely propels that decision-making process and that ability to lockstep and speed to market as well. So
Well said.
I think
Well
that's a
said.
great point. Terri.
And just an item that I want to punctuate there is the fact that by having that singular system for all of our family of carriers, the really, the beautiful part about it is we will all take advantage of an additional economies of scale by having better pricing. And we don't have to be focused on managing legacy, antiquated systems. One of the systems that we just eliminated was a 30-year-old proprietary claims system. And the architects are still with the company, and they're very proud of it. But I had to take it away from them, because they just couldn't. They were in that little bubble, and they could not grow with the times and with the onset of predictive analytics and data-driven focus, because they're too busy maintaining an antiquated old system. So we just got rid of it all and had that one platform for all entities.
Terri, as you modernize, we all talk about change management. How were you able to sell on key people within your organization to make a change, to modernize, to a new system, a new process, and everything? How did you do that with your key contributors, your staff?
Well, once you were able to overcome this, I'm not doing it. I've done it for 20 years. Once you're able to overcome that resistance, I shall call it, the key is ownership and participation and listening. And I'm an individual that really believes in empowering our team and getting everybody involved from top to bottom as part of the decision-making process, and allowing individuals to contribute to how we're going to reshape and restructure the system. And I'm not making this up. One of our operations is based in Alabama, and this is unheard of. We were still mailing policy invoices with a stamp. So we got them to send out invoices by email. Can you believe it? And updating the system, and I think a lot of folks are concerned about job security, and that's fine. And the thing is to get them comfortable. And again, your job is not in jeopardy. We're going to pivot you now to customer service, to helping, doing some other tasks and responsibilities, that will make you part of the process. But the bottom line is, I think, is accountability, getting them involved in the process, listening to them, allowing them to contribute, to make some improvements in the process. And then once you can get through that, it becomes a no-brainer. And then once the team sees that you're really building an organization, that they can grow with, it really changes the dynamics. And it builds a better corporate culture and better results in the long run.
Yeah. So we just talked about change agent with your key employees and employees in general. What about vendor management, vendor contract, as you can come in to kind of modernize the whole organization? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, I think that one of the things that and I think I hit the nail on the head with the fact that no more stamps. We're going to use a thing called email to send out invoices. People are used to their own ways, and people get used to a process. But the fact of the matter is, as we grow, and data is key in our organization now, modernization and utilizing our data as a data-driven focus is what the key is going to be for success, particularly for a small organization like ours. And as part of that process, think about the benefits of that. Having data and having modernization is key for us to negotiate potentially better reinsurance rates, help us attract investors, help us attract new trading partners, help us grow our business. So that modernization is beyond just the operational efficiencies that we're going to be able to achieve through better systems, but it translates into better relationships with other core relationships that really will chart the path of our organization going forward.
Yeah. And now that we're getting closer to going live and everything else like that, what are the, I think we talked about this question, and I think it's an interesting one for your stakeholders, your owners of the holding group, the increased revenue opportunities because of this modernization. You got the vendors taken care of, you got your employees. Now, what do they see, and how did you execute and explain those opportunities coming forward?
Well, and again, basically here what we're doing is shifting those back office operations, a great number of them, to the folks at MIS Resource Pro and other trading partners that we have that we've elected to outsource to. And by doing so, number one, you've got to have confidence in the people that you're surrounding yourself in. And we have tremendous confidence in the folks at MIS and also, again, our claims outsource vendor. By having them take over some of those duties and responsibilities, I'm now able to shift my resources, my time and talent to business development and growing our business, because I know that they've got my back in other parts of the operation that are critical to our underpinnings. And that's a key part of our strategy moving forward.
What would you add, Zenobia? Anything to that?
Yeah, we talk about change and the reluctancy to change as it relates to individuals. But one of the things we talked about at one of our roundtables yesterday, and a lot of you were there, that this industry that we're in changes regularly. And we become so numb to it, right? Rates are always changing, regulations are changing, forms are changing, and that's just the business that we're in. So to be able to be in a position to manage that effectively through our compliance team and working, with Terri is critical, right? You have agencies and regulatory governing bodies that are always looking to ding you on data quality, and there's lots of implications, scoring implications, fine implications, and so to be able to stay on top of that as a proponent of change has been very crucial in this partnership as well.
And I have to share a story about that. So a number of years ago, I would say it was 2010, when I was working with MIS at a carrier that I was trying to pull out of supervision. Our NCCI data scorecard was an F. It was an F. When I got on board, I looked at it like, oh my gosh, I've never had an F grade in my life. What am I going to do? I mean, it was horrible.
Overachiever.
So I called in Kris and his team, and they actually helped me forensically recreate all of our data so we can improve our NCCI scorecard. And I can tell you that since 2010, once we fixed all the issues, the carrier that I used to manage never got less than an A rating again, A grade on their NCCI data report card again. And that's really critical, because when you're dealing with regulators and regulatory bodies, your credibility as a carrier matters. And that's something that MIS helped us restore. And I'm looking for them to help me do it again
Oh.
with this next go around,
Yeah.
because it is critical for the, again, from a regulatory perspective, to have that
Yes.
quality of data and accuracy of data. It's very important.
Perfect, perfect. So wrapping this up, the topic was core systems and rapid deployment of those systems. Any takeaways from your vantage point of what, choosing the lease model? Anything the takeaways that you would like to express to everybody?
Yeah, well, I always like to believe in the TLC model. Not only tender, loving care for me in the personal side of my life, but also on the business side of my life. So technology is critically important. And again, this is where folks at MIS, hit a home run for us. They've got technology covered. I don't have to worry about investing in it. They do it for us on our behalf with state-of-the-art technology.
Great.
Second is leverage. I can leverage, and Kris and his team have done this for me brilliantly over the past 35 years I've worked with him, introducing me to other trading partners, making things happen for us, using that relationship leverage to help build our organization, and using their other trading partners to help me build my own. An example of that is, hey, Kris, who do you use as an actuary that I could help, build our team? That kind of leverage is critical in having that as an option for us. And C is customization. I'm able to use MIS and their team to help me build proprietary parts of our program that is exclusive to us. Again, unlike other opportunities that maybe are part of a build or buy option, where maybe I come in and say, I want to do this. My competitors, because they're using the same platform, are taking advantage of my intellectual capital. With MIS Resource Pro, that intellectual capital stays between our relationship and is not shared with other trading partners that I'm buying, that is going to be unique to us. And that is a significant advantage of our relationship.
Excellent. I think that's it. I don't know if there's any questions, but I know their time's flying. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Terri Stevens. You got a 2 out of 10. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kris, Zenobia, and Terri. That was really very helpful. And thank you very much for sharing all those insights that you look at when we're acquiring your systems. A little bit too, MIS also serves MGAs with their systems. They also, if a large carrier is looking to go into a new coverage or a new line of business, we've also provided services in that area. So it's not a capability just in a startup situation. There's many different situations. So Kris, anything you wanted to add about that?
No, what's unique is Terri's operation is an MGA as well as a carrier. And so had a dinner with Mark last night, and Mark's given us all the cues of how to be a MGA and carrier and everything. So this is great consulting route there as well. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Terri.